For the second episode in a row, we get to start it off by congratulating the Knicks. I shot my shot last episode, calling the Knicks the winners, but we
Super
weren't
bold
sure.
when they're up 3-1, by the way. Wow, that's really stepped down on a ledge there, Justin.
Yep. I went out on a ledge and I called it and I was right. And so, we there's a lot going on in the NBA. They took zero time off, if you will. We're out here with
You're
treats.
right. Just, we got a jam-packed episode because you're right. There's a lot to talk. We have draft. We have Giannis trade. We have LaMelo trade. We have final congratulations for the Knicks, we're going to get into here for a sec. I just want to appreciate the fact that the NBA season ended. And, the running joke is that when the season ends, you go to Cancun. And literally, as soon as the season ended, Justin went to Cancun and spent some time down there.
I had a great time in Cancun. I actually don't even remember the resort's name, which is how good it was. Yeah, man, it was a good time. And what was fun was there was obviously, soccer's going on right now. And we happened to be down there during the Mexico-South Korea game, I think it was. And so that was a blast, like being in a different country, watching that country watch their team in a sport they're clearly very passionate about. That was so much fun. We had they had this huge projection up on the beach. We're out on the beach watching it. It was a good old time. So that was really fun. I weirdly enough, there were a few celebrities at the resort with us. One of the draft picks for the Jags was there, and then Dwayne Dedman, of all people, was actually at the wedding I was at. His wife was the maid of honor for the wedding, and so we hung out with Dwayne Dedman for
I'm sorry, Dwayne Dedman's wife was the maid of honor at the wedding you were at, and you had no idea that this person was going. You had no idea he was going to be there.
What's even crazier is when they got engaged in Volano. For anybody that doesn't know Florida, that's like 20 to 30 minutes from my house because it's my buddy. It's by St. Augustine. It's like it's my buddy, from college who's getting married. There's a hotel in Volano that has a rooftop bar now. And so he kind of told us he was going to do this, and this was like a year and a half ago, but he told us he was going to do this. He's like, hey, if all you guys wanted to be at the bar afterwards to surprise her, that would be really cool. So we're like, yeah, we'll do that. So we're all at the bar. Dwayne Dedman's there. He's a large human, like very.
I'm laughing at Dwayne Dedman trying to hide by the bar. My guy's like 7 feet tall. Where is he hiding?
No, but he's there, and we're all hanging out. We're talking, and I just never put two and two together. Like I looked at him, and I was like, man, you probably played basketball, but never actually put together. Like I knew his name was Dwayne. I just never put it together until we were in Cancun when TJ's like, yeah, you haven't talked to him about his time with the Magic, and I was like. It was like, I literally joked.
Mind you, he played 2 stints with the Sixers, too.
Yeah,
so, it's extra. Dwayne Dedman's a process OG.
Dude, it was one of those, I described it as, the show That's So Raven, when she had, that weird memory thing that would, go in her eye and it would, zoom back out. That's literally what happened when I, connected the dots that was Dwayne Dedman. I was like, oh, my God. But we were having a good old time with him, and
so he's gonna come on the podcast, right?
Dude, I told him I want him to, and he's like, I got stories, and I'm like, yeah, I know you got stories.
Please, Dwayne, consider this an open invitation, especially after you spent a wedding in Cancun with Justin. Dude, please come tell your stories on the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. We would love that.
This is such a one-off, weird, drunken Cancun brain thought process that I wanted to tell you about. So we're with him and a bunch of my buddies. TJ's there too, who we talk about on the podcast quite a bit, actually, because he's a Knicks fan, so that's why. But we were in the swim-up bar, and he ordered us a round of tequila shots. And mind you, this is 10:30 a.m. It's not, but it's Cancun, so whatever. So we do it.
You're in Mexico,
right? We do it, and I'm like, dang, that didn't that tequila didn't burn like it normally does. And TJ is like, oh, that's because they water everything down here at the resort. And Dwayne was like, no, they don't. And TJ's like, yes, they do. So we got into an argument about it. And then in doing that shot, we realized we finished his 1800 tequila bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So Dwayne orders another round because he'll have to open the bottle that hasn't been touched. So in theory, he could have, quote unquote, couldn't have watered it down.
Right.
Round of shots for everyone. It's 8 of us. We do it again. It tastes the same. And I'm like, see, I told you. And TJ's like, no, no, no. They water it down before it gets here.
They go to the distillery and they ask for the pre-watered down bottles.
Right. So then I'm like, well, like I don't really drink tequila, so I wouldn't know taste wise anyway. And then Dwayne's like, okay, well, what do you drink normally? I'm like, oh, I drink normally whiskey. He's like, okay, round of whiskey shots. Oh. It's like 10:25 and we've done 3 shots in the name of science, trying to figure out if they watered down the alcohol there.
But was the whiskey watered down or not?
It honestly, it didn't burn like whiskey normally burns, so it wouldn't surprise me if there was some watered downness going on there. That is where we left it at. Our theory is potentially.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's definitely an urban legend for a long time. There's no doubt about that.
And then just to give you a visual, and for you listening, my buddy TJ's 5'10". I'm probably underselling him a little bit. How tall do you think he is?
He ain't 5'10". Justin, I'm closer 5'10". I have a good I feel like I've got 3 inches at least on TJ.
He's okay. We'll put it this way: he's short, and obviously Dwayne Dedman.
You're bailing him out so much right now.
And put it this way: Dwayne Dedman is not short.
Dude, said TJ was 5'10". That's hilarious.
Dude, one point during the wedding, Dwayne picked TJ up like a baby, like under the armpits, picked him up. And I said the only thing that would have made it funnier is if TJ started kicking his legs like kids do when they're upset that you're picking them up. I would have
actually fighting back a little bit.
Oh my God, I would have cried laughing, but it was a good time. We had a blast. The season was over. I had to go to Cancun and we had a good old time.
Yeah. Look at you, Dwayne Dedman.
Yeah, dude, it was such a random thing. I was like, I've hung out with this guy like 4 or 5 times now, and I've realized I've never told Kevin that with Dwayne Dedman. Such a random thing. So
it feels like an important thing to tell about when you host an NBA podcast. But, what do I know?
Right. Good dude though. Very nice guy. He was having a blast. He was having a good old time. So. Back to the Knicks, who
they've also been having a good old time.
Yeah, I don't believe they went to Cancun specifically, but they are obviously out here having a good time, celebrating the win, the parade, which I would have avoided in every single way. Dude, I'm telling you, here's my hot take, and I doubt you're going to agree with me. The parade, in general, for any sport, sounds great in theory. When you're there, is so overrated.
I slightly agree and I slightly disagree. It's chaos for sure. It's a lot.
Right,
I mean, the videos are there of you're coming out of the subway. Every train is packed.
Passing out,
trying to do little things like get to the bathroom is difficult. It's a lot. I'll also say when you haven't done it in as long as you have with the Knicks, when it's been 53 years and it's just sheer euphoria, that euphoria does make up for a lot of it.
And I agree with that. I remember 2008 when the Phillies won, and I went to the city for it and was really excited. And I hated every second of being there. And dude, it just to get back on the train was a 5-hour wait to get on. Dude, it was just horrible. It was cool to see the players for the 25 seconds you see them, and then you just want to get out of there, and you can't get out of there. So that's maybe just because of that experience. I specifically am soured on it, but
I got so bailed. So when the Eagles won the second time this past year in 2024. The day of the victory parade was the same night as my barrister's ball for Rutgers for law school, our very last one. We had all bought tickets. And where was that venue, you ask? I'm talking, it was right across from City Hall in Philadelphia. Wow. You could not be in more center city Philadelphia. Yeah. And the train wasn't running as normally that day because of the schedule. So they literally weren't even running there. So I was like, we have to drive. I'm looking around at Amber and because, it's hey, we got to get dressed up. I got to put a suit on. She's got to put a gown on. This is a formal event. And we just get in the car and I'm like, I don't know if we're making it today. I'm going to drive towards the city. It's way later. It's post parade and all that. Of course, they'd already gone to the art museum by that point and done all the speeches and such. Dude, God bless those crews that clean it up, though. I'll say in Philly, like in terms of the streets and stuff, we drove right down Market Street. I'm talking like Center City all the way down to 15th, right off the highway. You couldn't tell there was any like it.
They
Shoot, it
had
was
it.
cleaner than it was on a normal day. Like you couldn't tell anything.
Yeah.
And we drove right in, no worries at all. But I was just laughing. I was like, I don't know. Good luck. I was like, I feel like this might be like Mad Max too.
Yeah,
Like maybe we'll make it.
Maybe we'll make it, or maybe my car's gonna be flipped over and on fire by the end of all this.
I mean, Jose Alvarado said he was going for like 8 straight days between that, and then I mean, and just in New York City too, the Puerto Rican Day Parade was like the next day. I think after they won the title, which is a huge, massive event.
Yeah,
in New York
that's
City
a big
every
one.
year. And so yeah, I mean, what a week. Obviously, what a team. Certainly again, credit to them. I mean, I was talking heavy on them a few weeks ago. It did not age well when they were down 2-1 to the Hawks, and they did. They flipped the switch. I didn't think they had it in them. They certainly did have it in them. It's one of the most complete playoff runs you'll ever see. They pretty much handled their business. Obviously, a lot of history in the finals, the way they were able to finish. And we'll talk about the Spurs too, and their complete inability to finish throughout this entire finals. I mean, it was a lot, a lot of blown leads for the Spurs. They're not going to they're not going to be forgetting that for quite a long time. But no, I mean, for the Knicks, I mean, obviously in Game 6, we were through Game 5 when we last recorded. Game 6, I mean, the big story is Brunson. Like that's the ultimate Brunson legacy game, and like you knew what this would do for him with this run, regardless. But like to close it out in a game where, they scored 94 points and Jalen Brunson's got over 40 of them, the most in a closeout game since Jordan. Just putting the stamp on his finals MVP run, a run that has really boosted his status into where he is currently in the NBA, in terms of the players, the best players in the league. I think he's entered new conversations that a lot of people probably didn't have him in. And like, look, the moves worked. Like the Knicks hit around the edges. I think that was the biggest thing this year was the depth. Like the depth wins again. It was Landry Shamet's contributions. It was Jordan Clarkson being able to come in during the finals and make a positive impact there. Obviously Mitchell Robinson, that was less of a surprise off the bench there. They got guys stepping up. Jose Alvarado, who's now rewarded with a new contract and is coming back to the Knicks with a new 3-year deal. Like they got what they needed out of their bench to supplement the starting lineup. Starting lineup had been good. It was good last year. It had been good the 2 years before. We knew that they fit well together. They complemented each other really well. It was just, do you get that depth? And they got it. And, a lot of people's legacies got validated here.
I would say not even got it, but actually started utilizing it, which was always and is always a Thibs knock, right? Because that's one of the other things that was kind of changed. So, like,
it definitely stings for Thibs for sure. I mean, it's literally the first year out, you put Mike Brown in that spot, and they get it done and win the title. Like,
but to that, it's like, hey, rotations looked a little bit different, and a lot of that comes on the coach, and so. Yeah, I mean, that's what it looks like. And not even just in the playoffs, even in, you take it back 2 years ago to when the Knicks were playing in the playoffs and you saw, all their stars look gassed. And I'm not saying they didn't. I mean, you could tell Jalen Brunson was tired, man, but he put together a 45-point game and you go through the whole season and that's, saving moments here and there for him with rotation players and getting the bench involved. Like it very much is that. So I will say that last game though, 94-90 was other than really Jalen Brunson, like it was I would say Harper, we could put Harper on that. Harper dropped 25 and really sealed himself for the Spurs. I know, and I think it'll be a thing probably for a while with De'Aaron Fox, and however they want to do that between Castle, Harper, and Fox a little bit will probably be a conversation to be had. Though they already said, De'Aaron Fox isn't going to be held to the play that he had in those last few games because, not taking the whole season into it. They alluded to him still being kind of only on one leg with an injury. So, that'll be a part of it too. But back to the next part, yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to some of the changes they made in the offseason, and one of them being the coach, and the coach being a big part because of the rotations that they were able to utilize all season, and it benefits them at the end of the season when everyone still has enough gas in the tank to get it done. And even if it just comes down to it, Jalen Brunson specifically dropping a 45-point game to seal the deal.
I mean, it was bold too. I mean, I think people forget. I mean, that was one of the most successful seasons in Knicks history, and to
Right.
fire the coach after
Yeah.
that, even though
Oh,
it
we
ended on a
criticized
sour
the hell
note,
out
like,
of it.
yeah, it definitely like there were fair criticisms at the time.
Yeah.
Like there was definitely a risk there, but yeah, I mean, shout out to Mike Brown, obviously a huge boost for him. You know, he's won titles as an assistant, but you know, you think about him. I mean, being the head coach of that LeBron team back in the finals with the Cavs all the way back in 2007, and now to be able to win with this Knicks franchise, you know, really put himself up there in the pantheon of NBA coaches. You know, a lot of credit to him. The League of Parity continues. Like, look, we knew it was going to happen with regardless who won these finals. You know, 9 straight champions now, or nine different champions in 9 straight years, I should say. Very un-NBA-y, if you will. You know, not to look too far ahead into next season, but I mean, when you look at the Knicks in the Eastern Conference, like we're going to talk a whole lot of West now, and obviously we've got the Giannis trade to talk about, so a pretty big shakeup in the East right now. Still another potential looming with the Jaylen Brown situation, but I mean, do you instantly go, this is the best team in the East again next year?
Are you talking like finals contender, or are you talking record wise? Like, will we see
I'm
them
saying,
at
do you
number
think
one?
they have a chance to run it back? Do you think they've got a chance to get back in the finals next year?
Yeah, I think they do. Obviously, to your point, like I'm interested to see what the Celtics does. I'm interested to see if the Pistons, you know, with a little more experience, get a little more, you know, age under them, if that makes sense. You know, obviously, the Pacers with health, in theory, will be back in the conversation, even though they were way down at 14th in the East. You know, do the Hawks with a full season look a little bit different? You know, that those are some of just the first ones that and Heat. I shouldn't leave them off with Giannis. Like those are just some of the first ones that kind of pop off that I go, okay, well, what are we going to see out of this team now? And what will it look like? To that, I think the Knicks are the ones that have proved it, and I think they'll be the ones who should be number one out of the East next year, barring anything drastic. Kind of like let's not forget what the Pacers like were 2 years ago. You know what I mean? I weirdly enough feel like they might be one that people might not realize. Like you go back to the 24-25 season, and they were a 50-win team. They were like, what was it, 14 wins 15 wins, 20 wins this year? So, like, the Pacers could surprise a lot of people again. And so I'm curious to see where they land. I'm not saying they're going to be the biggest one. I bet the Pistons, record-wise, could potentially repeat at one of the top teams. The Celtics with Brown, I would be... I mean, if they get something really good back, then maybe that's a different conversation to be had, you know?
Yeah, I mean, 19 wins for the Pacers last year.
19,
the issue with the Pacers, or the bummer for me right now, is just how that situation played out with Zubats, where they basically they lost the number 5 overall pick this year, and I think that would have been the hey, okay, you add a number 5 onto your roster, and you go, yeah, we can really turn it up this year. Not to say that they're right, they're going to be better with Hallie just naturally. I don't think they're going to win 19 games again next year.
I don't think they were trying to win this year either, so I think that's a big part of it. Yeah,
but I think there's a little more, like the Knicks are the most certain here by far, and I think that matters. Like we haven't seen Giannis suit up. Boston again, big question mark with Jaylen Brown. I think how that plays out, and the reality is like we still haven't seen Tatum fully back. Like I know he played well at the end of last year. I think I'm excited to see him get a full off season so he can truly like rehab fully from this Achilles injury. But that roster without Jaylen Brown is going to look a lot different, certainly. Yeah, Detroit feels like the other one where there's the most consistency as well, though apparently the Durant contract talks haven't been going that well, and so that's something to keep an eye on. If he's not happy there and they're not on the same page, you know, that would certainly be a radical shift there. But yeah, I mean, I think the Knicks, you know, some of the teams out west will have more stability like that as well, but I think that alone will put them in a good situation to contend again in the Eastern Conference and put them right up there. Like I'm not instantly going, oh yeah, they're 100% the favorite, but I mean, if I'm looking at one, I think that consistency may matter here.
Yeah, I agree with you. And with all the turnover that will happen, and it sounds like it's going to be a very busy off season in terms of that.
Yeah, I mean,
having consistency is going to be a big part of, you know, a potential repeat if they're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they've already got Alvarado back, so that's pretty huge. I mean, Mitchell Robinson is probably the biggest one. Um, I'm not really sure what they may end up doing, if they're going to bring him back or Mitchell Robinson back, and if they're able to
Hmm.
afford him. Obviously, he played a ton of great minutes for them last year. I mean, most notably securing the offensive rebound in game 5 to really put that away. The other reality is like Landry Shamit's probably not coming
Well,
back either. Like he's played himself into so much money off this run.
but I guess my question to you with Robinson, and I don't want this to come off as like insensitive to his role with the team and how good he was, but like, is that something you could replace with whoever? You know what I mean? Like with somebody else. I think there's an argument to be made that could probably be the case. Like there'll be guys available that can be a big and help you defensively, get boards, and step in when some of the bigger guys need to take a rest.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing to watch. But I think kind of the league itself almost just played out well for the East, the way this is kind of, unless your Wizards, and we'll talk about that, unless your Wizards really rise here late or something like that. I mean, now Charlotte post LaMelo, you got questions there, what they're going to look like.
I believe.
They look like a team to rise. Orlando and the Sixers, okay, like, you know, we gonna
Yeah,
do that again? Like, I'm
there's
not doing that
something.
again.
I'm not. I don't even want to deal with it. It's so annoying. So, um, yeah. I mean, I kind of had this written down for another part of the podcast, but I do want to ask it because we already kind of talked Pacers a little bit too, and the Wizards seem to be another team that, put it this way, Pacers and Wizards will not be 14th, 15th next year.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how high you think they will go.
Well, it's so tough. So like, and again,
Right.
we'll talk more about the draft, but like your Wizards, you get Devonta in there,
Yep.
great
Yep.
pick. Like, can't really argue with that. I think he's going to come in and contribute right away. You know,
Trey.
you've got
Yeah.
Trey who's motivated. He's just got a new $212 million contract. I don't love that for anybody. I love that for Trey Young, but that's about
Yeah.
it.
I love that for
It's
his
tough to
bank
gauge
account. Yeah.
how much better the Wizards are going to be, because on paper, sure, they should be a lot better. Just naturally, I think they've already got a few young guys in there. I still like George a lot.
That would be
Um,
sorry,
you
not to
know,
cut you off. That would be a good segment for the summer. Teams that were on paper supposed to be amazing, but never were.
oh yeah, I mean, we could do that. We could do that
Oh,
all
yeah.
day long.
That'd
But
be
I mean,
fun.
and so much again, it comes down to Anthony Davis's health. If Anthony Davis is
Yep.
healthy, then sure, I think they can be right there in the middle. Like, dude,
And
you could
and
talk me up to the
happiness.
Wizards as high as like 4 or 5 if everybody's healthy.
Well,
But
and happiness, but all one of the things we always hear with Anthony Davis is he doesn't want to play center. He's probably gonna have to play center again. So like, you know what I mean? Like,
Anthony Davis asked for a traditional center, and they shipped him out for Luca. That was crazy.
that's wild. So and to that, like back to the Pacers things, man, they were a 50-win team last time when they were healthy. So if they were a 50-win team this year, they would be right behind the Cavs, above the
Yeah,
Raptors.
it was also
So
2 years ago now. I think with the
I
Pacers, it's
know,
like, hey, we are a long way removed from that. A lot
I
has
know,
changed.
I know.
But I think, yes, I think they will be better. I do not expect the Pacers and the Wizards to be the worst two teams in the Eastern Conference this year. I think they'll probably rise. I mean, the worst teams in the East, and we'll get into this a little bit later because I feel like you wanted to ask about the bleakest futures, but like
Mhm.
the bad teams in the East to me right now are going to be Brooklyn and Milwaukee, but especially Brooklyn. Brooklyn's going to stink out loud next year.
Yeah, which sucks because they've been doing that for a little bit now. So
Yeah, the ping pong balls didn't really fall their way. They
literally,
didn't.
yeah,
Missing out on
yeah.
that top 5 here is kind of brutal.
Do you think the Hornets drop down towards the bottom with the trade?
I don't know. That's such a weird. It's so tough to grade that right now. I do like Nas Reed a lot. I think it's going to open some things up for Khan and Brandon Miller, who I think have maybe another step to take. So I'm not necessarily totally out there yet. But yeah, LaMelo's a big loss. Then we'll get into like we need to do a deeper dive into the Hornets, so I don't even want to give away too
Yeah,
much
yeah,
here right now. Welcome everybody to the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. My name is Kevin Rafuse. Joining me as always, my co-host Justin Cousart.
Fun fact, this NBA draft in the second round, every pick was traded except for one, which was the 50th pick, 20th of the day, if you want to, Jaden Bradley to the Raptors was the only one that wasn't traded for the entire thing.
That is a fun fact.
Which leads to a different conversation of like, NBA, you gotta just do what the NFL does. Don't go up there and say the Lakers are taking this pick. Make this man put on a Lakers hat and then have him traded. Like, do what they do. Go up there, say, with the 7th pick, whoever has traded their pick to whoever, and they are taking, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Well, especially
like,
now. It's
Twitter,
like, this isn't a secret
leaked.
anymore.
Yeah, we knew it before the TV, like 5 minutes before the TV was doing it. So, just a gripe I have where Chase and I were actually talking about that, where he's like, man, the NFL draft has ran so well that I think we just hate all the other ones.
Yeah, I mean, it just also they stretched it to 2 nights, and it just doesn't need to be stretched to 2 nights. Like, you guys have 60 picks. Like, get it done in one night, please. Like, it's a marquee event. I get it. You're trying to make it a marquee event.
Right.
The first round is a big deal.
Right.
I don't know. I'm calling me old school there, but just get it done in one night. Like,
yeah, let's just knock it out.
How many people are really tuned into the second night like that? They're all getting traded.
I didn't even care to tune in for the first night because I knew I would just get it on social media. Like, I don't need a whole thing with it. But that might not be the most common opinion in I guess, NBA fans.
I do kind of hate that they spoil it for people that are watching on TV. And I mean, look, you can tune that out, but I like that you have to mute it yourself a little bit.
The problem is, and I guess the counter argument to it, and this is more from a sports betting standpoint, is like the sports books are so on it too that even if you're on that page, like looking at your bet based off the line, you'll know if something happened too. You know what I mean? So like there's multiple ways things are being spoiled. I don't know how you close that door unless you get streaming like speed up till somehow being like almost in the exact moment that it's happening. But I think that part is just an evil that like you as a person, if you don't want it spoiled, like you have to make a very big effort to not do social media or place bets and be, you know what I mean? Like when we were watching the Hurricanes games, like I had bets going, but I couldn't look at it because if I looked at it, I would know like, oh shit, like what was I think it was the first game they scored in the first 30 seconds. That was spoiled to me because I placed a bet and immediately it was trying to cash me out for like $50. And I was like, oh, the Canes must have scored. And Nicole's like, what do you mean? 2 minutes later, right through the net. And I was like, I'm so mad at myself that I saw it. You know what I mean? Like that's it's just there's so many ways it can get spoiled now. So you have to make an effort to not like put yourself in a position to have that spoiled.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's definitely out there. It's not as fun to get on TV. I always love when people beat it on cable too. Like I've had friends where it's like I'm watching on cable and I'm like, how are you getting it on an illegal stream faster than me?
What?
Like this shit, like what is wrong with this picture? But
there should be an issue here.
Yeah, I digress. Leave us a review on iTunes, good or bad. We'll read them on the podcast. If you're not an Apple user, Google Play Store, Spreaker, Spotify, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Player FM, anywhere you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And we are on YouTube. Just search Drive and Dish NBA Podcast on YouTube. You can find us there, watch a video version of the podcast, and subscribe just like you normally do. You'll get notifications when new episodes are coming out.
Now, a word from our sponsors.
So, the big trade that went down, I think, while I was in Cancun, if I'm not mistaken, is the Giannis move has officially happened. He got his wish and is down in Miami with actually my former boss, who also went to Miami.
I was like, what?
He's working for our cluster in Miami now, so I guess they both went down there.
Great.
Yeah, I think for Giannis, like that's got to be really cool. It's exciting. I'm annoyed with Miami Heat fans with this Bam's better than Kobe stuff. And so
no, that's so funny, dude. I am cracking up with those memes. No, that's great.
It makes me so annoyed. I'm like, guys, come on. Because of your location, you're able to get these stars. Just be humble about it instead of this BS
No,
of.
the Bam talk is hilarious though, because that's trolling. That to me is
I
like that's
know.
funny, artful. Like I'm with it. Of course, they absolutely get the extra look because they're Miami. They
Yeah.
always will.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily the case that played out here. I mean, I guess. Look, I'm surprised. I do think Boston was going to end up coming away with Giannis as soon as Jaylen Brown came on the table. That's just the reality. Is I'm like Jaylen Brown is a better player than anybody that Miami offered here.
There's just no name that you can get close to that. Yeah.
No, but with Milwaukee, you'll have a lot of optionality here. You got a mix of young guys and picks. I mean, you got 3 first round, one of which they already spent, which is the number 13 in the draft. But you got 3 first round picks. You got a pick swap. Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaquez Jr., and Kasparis Giannis. And then for the Bucks, of course, they get, or I should say for the Heat, of course, they get Giannis, but they also get Bobby Portis in the mix there too, which I think is important.
Fun little thing for you, and I just noticed this because I was looking up the player. If you Google Giannis right now, it like confetti, Miami colored confetti comes down across the screen and it says "Welcome to Miami."
Really? Yeah.
I'm curious if it does it for the other players. Let's do. I guess most likely it would be Hero.
I don't think they're doing it for Tyler Hero, fam. Respectfully,
Dude.
I don't think they're doing it for Tyler Hero.
No, they do. They do.
Wow. Okay.
Welcome to Milwaukee, and the green and white is coming out. Yeah.
Respect Google, and I mean, look, that is a homecoming for Tyler Hero. Like that is pretty cool for him in that regard. He grew up in Wisconsin. He gets to come back.
Do they do it for everybody?
It just seems like there's more flexibility with the Bucks now, and I think that's what they chose here over going with Jaylen Brown. Like again, a lot of these guys are in their 20s. You're either going to be able to find out if they're a part of your long-term vision or they still have value to move. You get 2 contracts off your books with Giannis and Bobby Portis.
So my update for Google is they do it for all the players, but apparently not the picks. So I'm upset.
Well, I mean, listen, I can't really be too upset there.
Yeah, but it's really... like if I Google 2033 first round pick Milwaukee, they know what I'm looking for. I want some confetti saying "Welcome to Milwaukee."
I might be a little too far in the weeds on that one, but
and so I guess my question to you from a Miami standpoint is like, what's next for Miami? Because obviously they need to kind of find a way to tool around these guys a little bit. They lost a lot of role players and obviously picks, and I surprisingly think the role players is what's going to hurt losing for Miami's side of things more than anything. No hate on Tyler Hero, but you got Giannis in, so your scorer's there. You have Bam. Bobby Portis came over, like you said, in the trade. But like, what else do you put around this?
Well, so the first question I was going to have is Norm Powell, and Norm Powell is apparently not coming back because I think that would have been great. The next one now, the big one, is Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins has to make his decision. It's by Monday, so 2 days from now when we're recording this. But if he were to opt out and sign back, it can help Miami stay below the first apron of the salary cap. Of course, got a ton of flexibility. Beyond that, Miami's going to have to do what I think they've done well in the past, and that's they're going to have to hit in the margins. Like, you're going to have to win around the margins here. You don't have a ton of flexibility with Giannis on the books, with Bam's big contract on the books still. There's not going to be that, like, where you can suddenly fill this roster out with quality depth. You're really going to have to hit on some of these moves. And that's going to be the pressure. You're always going to give Eric Spoelstra the benefit of the doubt with the ability of, with how good of a coach he is to get the best out of these guys. Like I said, Miami's had a pretty good track record overall of going out and finding these guys, a number of whom they just traded in the Giannis deal. They're going to have to keep doing that because that's the path to put this team on true contention right now.
Yeah, you need shooters too. I know there's some rumors around Klay Thompson, which would be interesting. I don't know if they can afford that or what that would look like. But that's my first glaring need when you look at, Giannis and Bam being together is like, you got to get some shooters around those guys. And to your point, they're kind of strapped. So, and like the Wiggins stuff, it's like, that's one of the more important offseason decisions that they need. And it's not even in their hands to make that decision right now. Now, I think you did what you could to make the decision very hard to say no to. Who wouldn't want to come back and play with Bam and Giannis together? So I'm curious to see how that plays out. Clay, from a 3-point shooting standpoint, we know what he is, and so that would probably be a decent fit for that. Again, it all comes down to, like, can they afford it? Can it be a buyout situation? Like, I don't know. So
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, look, on paper, so now just in terms of pure X's and O's of how this works, that front court's going to obviously be defensively just a monster with Giannis and Bam.
Yeah.
They're going to absolutely control the paint. I certainly think, we know Bam can space the floor a little bit. So they're going to have that, kind of inside out optionality. The biggest thing for me, though, is how much are they going to be able to space the floor? That could be their fatal flaw come long term, come playoff time. So again, you mentioned a little bit there with Klay Thompson and those rumors, just shooting will be crucial for this team. Like, you're going to need it. Certainly Giannis is not a great shooter. Bam is a good shooter, but I don't want Bam floating around the perimeter exactly the entire game either.
Right.
So that's going to be, again, hitting on these moves, but for Giannis, the road is there. I mean, it's certainly better. He's got a better shot of winning something here now in Miami than he had in Milwaukee. That Milwaukee team was just capped. I don't want to say it's totally the same situation that Giannis is in Milwaukee right now, but it is a lighter version of that. Like, Miami, they don't have the margins post this trade. Getting Portis helped for sure. I mean, they didn't just come away with Giannis. Like, Portis will still give you value there too, but. Yeah, it's going to be the road to get them to be a contender this upcoming season is a lot more murky than I think it is for some of these other teams in the East, even with bringing Giannis into the fold.
Yeah, I think, we were talking about kind of where it'll stand out. Having Bam and Giannis is going to get you wins. Like, they'll be in the mix, but I think we're like a year, maybe two removed from seeing what their true potential will be. And I think, to your point, it will be based around shooters. If we can get shooters there, if they can get shooters there, that is going to be huge for them. And it's going to take a second because of how much they had to give up to, get Giannis, which they should have had to do. You know what I mean? Like, it's Giannis, like, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
do you
there's
feel like
injury risk.
I agree, but do you think that was enough? Like, for Giannis as a player, do you think what they gave was adequate? Should it have been more because of knowing what the Celtics could have potentially started to work on offering with a Jaylen Brown?
I feel like it was fair. You're going to want more because you see Giannis, but I think when you look at the Giannis contract, you're paying him a ton of money. And he's just on the wrong side of 30 now. And again, this is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, we're talking about when he's healthy, he's a bona fide top 5, probably closer to top 3 player in the league when he's healthy. But, like, he's had some actual health issues here the last few years too. And, like, Giannis isn't the type of player whose game I think is going to age gracefully. Like, it could very well fall off a cliff here. And so to that point, like, no, there's risk here with Miami. There's not this is not we're trading for Luka Doncic and he's 25 and healthy and very much in the prime of his career. There's a little bit more risk here than I think people are giving it credit for.
Sure. No, I can get behind that. I agree with that.
But I get why Miami did it, because I think Miami, like, look, and besides the fact that they've certainly had success with this in the past as well. You think bringing in Shaq all the way back in the day, sort of big three with Wade and Bosh, like with Jimmy most recently as well. Like, Miami should take the swing. Miami wasn't winning anything. They were the 10 seed last year. That core had certainly, like, if you're not going to hard reset, you should try to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like, take a swing at it. If he's healthy, it works out. You get him with Spo. That's where I am going to give them the benefit of the doubt. It's like, I do think Spo is going to maximize Giannis and Bam to the most of their abilities. It's just, is that enough to get over the hump in the Eastern Conference? I don't know, but it's certainly a better shot than they had 2 weeks ago.
Well, we'll have to set the calendar reminder for 2033 with that first round pick, or if they trade it earlier to, like, go back and look. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What does this all look like once we know those, the 26 or the 31 first overall and 33 first overall? Like, what do those all pan out to be, And then obviously then we'll have a real clear idea of what Giannis is doing in Miami at that point. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to go back and look at this one when it's all said and done. Because, Milwaukee did do a lot of, like, for the future type moves, and that's fine. You got young guys now, so build around that, but you also got a lot of flexibility, which is what they need too. So
yeah, flexibility, new coach, and bringing Jenkins in. Like
mm-hmm.
they needed a hard reset in Milwaukee. It was
Yeah.
bad for everybody. The Giannis situation had gotten toxic and messy. They just weren't like, don't ruin a franchise great while it's there. Like you guys won a title together. It was objectively successful. Yep. Giannis is probably the best player in Bucks history. The only reason I'm even putting a probably there is because Kareem was so good there and won a title as well. But again, this needed to move on for everybody. It was getting passive aggressive. It was getting ridiculous. Like,
and so I guess that's my like last question about it is like, if Milwaukee did this earlier, even if it was to Miami, you know, maybe it was in the middle of last season or last summer, like, do you think they could have gotten more? Did they wait too long and lose out on some of their leverage because of the passive aggressiveness and stuff like that?
I mean, you certainly could have got more if it was like a full calendar year ago, or if it were even a year and a half ago. I think there were still reasons to believe that Milwaukee's core wasn't beat yet necessarily then. So I get why they didn't do that.
Of course.
I think in terms of like where they were, like if they had done this move in February versus now, I don't think it really would have changed too much. Like, I don't think the suitors changed. I mean, maybe there's someone who looks around and goes, yeah, we could have added Giannis and won last year, but like, is there like Boston? Would they have even made this move last year with Tatum out and not having been back yet, and with Jaylen Brown having the season that he's having, and they're overachieving? I was
gonna say, Brown hadn't made the comments yet to allude to the fact that he might be ready to go. You know what I mean? Like we were just like, wow, these two are happy. Look, he's cooking without Tatum in. Like we're good to go. And
well, Jaylen Brown was happy. To be fair, I don't think Boston's not the lack of happiness for Jaylen Brown. Is Jaylen Brown just wants to go be number one? That's listen, okay. I mean, he's made that very clear.
I don't blame him. I also think it's kind of cool with the Heat doing this. It feels like between them and the Spurs, and even the finals ending at a 94-90 game, it feels like the league is making a transition back to a more defensive minded kind of approach, which is a breath of fresh air a little bit. I mean, even look at what the Spurs did in the draft. They pretty much drafted to put some more bigs with Wemby. And so it does feel like, you know, a Giannis Bam is a move in that direction as well, where it's going to be very like, they're not going to be fun to play against. That's going to be not fun to play against at all. And so, I'm interested to see if any other team tries to combat that the opposite direction and just go full on offense, which could be argued a little bit to what's happening with the LaMelo trade in Minnesota a little bit. Now that one was a shocker and a half, like no doubt, like did not think that was going to happen. To me, it comes off as more of some of the injury concerns and obviously the frustrations that were happening outside of the organization. I mean, just look up LaMelo Ball in Charlotte on TikTok and you'll see all the things that are going on there or were going on there. But man,
he was just driving, to be fair.
Right.
I mean, what going on? It was just driving.
He was just driving like an idiot.
I don't want to act like he's like running around the city, like terrorizing the city like the Joker or something like that. He just shouldn't be driving a vehicle.
Dude, people were talking about, like, they see him driving down the street. It's like a hug up against a wall as much as possible. Like,
yeah, no, he should not be driving.
But to that, like, yeah, man, from an NBA standpoint, like, the Hornets are getting kind of crushed for this because you moved on from a 24-year-old all-star who's averaging 20 points per game and 7 assists last season. And it's like, I didn't really feel like there was a big need to move on from him. I felt like you saw an awesome potential last year with your team making the play-in tournament, and you guys were going to build on that. Instead, it's a full wash, and now we're starting over with Naz Reid, and you got a good amount of picks, but it just feels weird that they moved on early from Ball.
All right, so the full trade: LaMelo Ball and Josh Green to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Naz Reid, a 2033, first-round pick, 3 first-round pick swaps in 28, 29, and 30, and 3 second-round picks. Right. The surprise element here, like the Giannis trade, everybody and their mom knew the Giannis trade was coming. I don't think anybody, LaMelo Ball, who went from, oh, he's on the block to like, oh, he's actively moved in 2 seconds. I think from Hornets perspective, yes, it is much, much weirder than a Minnesota perspective. I'll get into the Minnesota, but I kind of like it for them in a second. For Charlotte, the timing is certainly weird. And I think there are reasons now that make sense. Because like Naz Reid is a really good player. Like he's a good big man. He will definitely add to that team. He'll play well along the Abate, like in Miles Bridges and that big man rotation. There's no issues there. And they have a ton of flexibility. They have room to add people in the depth. I think your upside here and what you're going to argue if you're Charlotte is we're going to say, hey, Concaniple's ready for a bigger role next year. We still think Brandon Miller, who showed out last year, still has a step to take, which I think is definitely within the realm of possibility. And saying, hey, you know, we like this raw. It's a little more flexible now. We have concerns about the injury and potentially the maturity, like you said, of LaMelo Ball, and we're about to give him a lot of money. And the opposite side of that is right. Last season was the most successful season the Hornets have had in ages. LaMelo Ball is still 24 years old. His last basket that he made playing in Charlotte was him hitting the game-winning layup to beat the Miami Heat in the play-in game and go and, you know, keep their season alive at that point. They had one of the best offenses in the league the second half of the season and really turned it around. It just felt like everything was clicking in that direction. Like it felt like everything was good. Now, I think the other hand goes, hey, well, that was a best case scenario with LaMelo. Like we're playing with constant chaos ball with LaMelo. You know, do we want to keep doing that, or do we want something a little more stable here, and potentially long term? And we're selling high on LaMelo. That's going to be something time has to play out. I don't know. I'm not ready. I'm not moving on from LaMelo Ball at 24 years old. I agree. The injury risk is definitely there, but he showed me enough when he's on the court. And I think the team showed me enough last year to say, hey, let's play out a full season of this with everybody healthy. Because the first quarter of the year, when they weren't that good, they also were dealing with a ton of injuries. Like, let's give a full season before we decide to trade our 24-year-old all-star guard who it feels like has a lot left in the tank. So yeah, I'm really, you know, it's tough for me to be positive about this for Charlotte right now. Like, I think there are worlds where this works out, but I just think this is a really unnecessary gamble. And on top of it, like, and again, you shouldn't do your moves based around the fan base, but it's like, this is a fan base that hasn't really had a lot to be excited about. You finally get him fired back up last season, and then you immediately trade your most recognizable player. Like, I don't know. That just feels kind of just, I don't know, tacky's not the word, but it's like, it's almost like that's a slap in the face a little bit, right?
Yeah, it was definitely surprising. And yeah, and it's like, well, now, you know, is it that's gonna be just because of off the hype he had in his rookie year, be the one that maybe the franchise gets behind in terms of like the recognizable player, maybe, I don't know, Brandon Miller, stuff like that. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Now, to the Minnesota side of things, like, was it a move to make Anthony Edwards happy? There is a potential, right?
Yes,
right.
Period.
but now it's like, you know, there's LaMelo and Ant are gonna both want the ball, so like, I think it helps alleviate that. Like I don't think it'll be a problem getting it around. I know there's some Rudy Gobert rumors and stuff like that too, so maybe the moves aren't done. But I still like, you know, could this unlock a potential LaMelo level that we haven't seen yet, which then obviously all season will come back to haunt the Charlotte Hornets. And to what I was talking about earlier is like, what does the defense look like if they do move on from Rudy Gobert? And, you know, whatever they end up doing, like what does it look like? And at least from an Ant and LaMelo standpoint, like the defense, it's more of an offensive move. I'll put it that way.
One final Charlotte point, because I think you made a lot of points in Minnesota that I want to talk about. But one final Charlotte point that I do think is important too is they brought back Kobe White already. They've officially brought him back on a 3-year deal. I think
Kobe
that's
White
big.
is so underrated, dude.
He's super underrated, and I think they needed to bring that, especially in the absence of LaMelo. They had to bring him back, and so that's good. That stops the bleeding there a little bit.
Kobe White in for the Bulls, I always felt was like slept on. Like, I knew he was going to get traded because like he was just slept on there. But yeah, Kobe White's a good one for sure.
Yeah. So going back now to Minnesota, I absolutely think this is around Anthony Edwards. I
Yep.
think the Ant rumors started, and you know what? Give Minnesota credit; they put them out with a fire extinguisher right away, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota will certainly without Reed, and losing Reed is tough too. He's a fan favorite up there, of course, but I
Six-man of the
think
year.
when you look at just giving up Reed and one first rounder, that's not even really necessarily the worst thing in the world when again you can get a 24-year-old all-star guard. Like the important part to me here, and I'm going to sound like a broken record saying 24-year-old all-star guard for how many times on this
Aha.
podcast,
That's
but
that's the title of the episode.
yeah, the important thing here is that this takes a lot of pressure off Ant. Like I think Ant
Yeah.
last year offensively was just getting surrounded at all times, and he was not just forced to be their main scorer, but like he was initiating the offense all the time, and it didn't feel like there was anyone else on Minnesota who was capable of initiating that offense. Bringing LaMelo Ball alone will take so much pressure off Ant. And like, yeah, I have questions too about how LaMelo is going to be able to play the two role because he has to. Like Anthony Edwards is clear number one there. LaMelo is the number two. But I think a guy like LaMelo Ball, who, while the offense is chaotic, having a guy who can get his own shot, who can create his own offense, who can, really run a good lob game with somebody like Rudy Gobert, because I don't think they're going to trade Gobert now that they gave up Reed. I don't think they're in a good position to, not if they're serious about winning next year, at least. I think that'll complement each other well, but like that alone to be able to sit Ant and not have him be in those primarily point guard, like having those responsibilities, I think that's crucial for this team. I think LaMelo is going to put pressure on the defense. Again, there's definitely a gamble here, and certainly from the maturity perspective, you have him and Ant, and then I already love the memes being like they're going to break FCC fine records after every
Oh my
single game.
gosh. Yeah.
Um, but I will say, I think this makes a lot of sense for Minnesota. I think they, again, need to figure out the power forward situation. There's definitely a lack there. Maybe you try to hit around the draft, but, you still got Jaden McDaniels here as well. Like this team has the potential to still be pretty good defensively. And now I think has another just level of offense to them that they didn't have before. I'm not ready to say that they're above San Antonio, they're above Oklahoma City, a retooled Oklahoma City, by the way, with a much richer Isaiah Hartenstein, with a courtesy of $135 million, and they did move on from Isaiah Joe and Wiggins. We can talk about that a little like later on. That's not super important right now, but worth mentioning. But I see the vision here a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like I see there's more upside to this team. I think in this comes as well, and with moving on from Julius Randle, sending him out to Brooklyn, like I think that gave them a little bit more financial flexibility as well. So again, it kind of in Miami in that sense as well. Like it's going to come down to how they fill out the roster, but I think that alone, taking the pressure off Ant and him matching Ant's timeline, makes this a worthy gamble for Minnesota.
Yeah. It's definitely a gamble you got to take, especially because we didn't think he was on the table. So good for them.
Yeah. I mean, Behringer is going to be the key too in that power forward role. Like if he's able to step up and be the guy, he played some good minutes for them last year.
Yeah.
Seems like they're invested in him.
Well, and it's worth mentioning that there's a really good NBA.com. They're really good about this. They have a 2026 free agent tracker. Like you can almost go by team if you want to do type, unrestricted free agent, stuff like that. Like just going down the list. Obviously, some of these are just they'll resign or the team will, whatever. But there's a decent amount of names on here. You're like, man, if the Wolves could go out and get this guy to help them out defensively or whatever, like there's names out there right now. They'll I think things will kind of clear up as to where they'll go quickly. But there's some names that are at least worth looking into that I think they're probably already having those conversations if I'm not mistaken. So wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, no, 100%. The other thing with Minnesota too, that's moving on from Randall allows them to bring Dusomnu back, who played super well for them post trade with Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I think kind of been a move that surprised no one. That was such a good move for them last year. But I don't know. I just like I'm more bullish on Minnesota now than I was again going back to 2 weeks ago. Like this team can make some noise. Like they were,
Yeah.
again, not in the second round team last year. It feels like when I look around the rest of the Western Conference, again, a little bit of a step before I get them to OKC and San Antonio, but I can see them making and contending. Like there are other teams that I don't necessarily see that for.
Yeah. It's just a bummer that it still doesn't put them above the top two potentially.
Well, we say that.
Yeah.
They could be though. They absolutely could be. The road
They
is there.
could be.
I just think it's less clear
Yeah.
where it is there OKC than San Antonio, but the road is definitely there.
Yeah, we just need to see. Well, and honestly, like it's like, okay, but let's see once all the moves are done, right? Like once everything's
Yeah.
all said and done, the season's starting up, that's what we'll work with. So
Well, and so now the last big trade piece that hasn't happened yet, it feels like, of course, is Jaylen Brown, who we mentioned. A lot of the teams, it certainly felt like Milwaukee would have been a logical destination in the Giannis situation. Of course, Minnesota now feels off the table with LaMelo Ball. So it's really a question of who is left at this point. And a situation that certainly has become a lot more difficult for Boston when they made it pretty clear that they were willing to move Jaylen Brown on the table. And, going back to that Jaylen Brown stream where he said, like, this is the most fun I've ever had. It feels like the writing's been on the wall there
yep.
for a minute. Teams are still going to be interested. The two destinations that still stick out to me are Detroit. I think Detroit is super intriguing. If they're on the wrong page with Durant, I could totally see there being a sign and trade there where he ends up going to Boston, and then you just make the swap straight up. The other one to watch is with Trey Murphy. I feel like with the Pelicans, Trey Murphy obviously has a lot of value. He's somebody that I think could offset some of the picks that you'd have to give up a little bit if you were going to move on. I'm not gonna lie, he feels like a classic, like good player, bad team type situation that would go do really well somewhere else. And Jaylen Brown certainly is the type of player that could free up somebody like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. Like, I was trying to find the player that apparently people were claiming that Boston wouldn't include for Giannis. That kind of made them miss out on it. There was a specific name that I was seeing floating around for a while, but I can't seem to find it right now.
Yeah.
But to that, yeah, I mean, to me, like, if you're like a San Antonio and you could make it work somehow, if Jaylen Brown's there instead of no hate on him, I know everyone's dogging on him because of the finals, but if he's there over like a De'Aaron Fox, holy moly, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. And with all the defensive moves that the Spurs kind of did in the draft, you kind of potentially have some room and some players that played phenomenally in the playoffs that might have built up their capital to kind of intrigue the Celtics with that a little bit. So I don't know. I selfishly would like to see that because I think that would really make the league like do a whole flip, if that makes sense. Like everyone would be put on notice at that point for the Spurs. I to what you were talking about, like I've heard teams like Cleveland floated out there at one point. But would he be the number one? Like that's where, like, if his whole thing is he wants to be the number one, and he may not be the number one in the Spurs organization either because it's Wemby, but like from a player standpoint, like where would he be happiest to potentially not be having this conversation again is probably something we need to have with him,
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I'm trying to think. San Antonio, I just don't know why you would be interested in that, Like, I don't think, sure, like, it pushes you over the top hypothetically, but you already have a good thing going. Like, Wemby likes these guys.
Yeah.
They're all young. They're all on the same timeline. It's kind of like, it just feels like a move where it's a classic, like, push-in move when you don't need to.
Sure.
With Jaylen Brown, I mean, the other teams that, like, Portland is the other intriguing one, and that's the one that's popped up recently. They have the mix of young talent. Like you could, make a move around Shaedon Sharp. I don't know if you're going to move. Abda was really good last year. I don't think you're going to move on from him. I would imagine he's one of the guys you want to try to keep in that trade. But either way, that and the Detroit thing, depending how again that Durant thing goes, that's the big like. What are we? I could actually see a move there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think, to your point, a good landing spot for him might be a team that wouldn't really put him in contention next year, which was a bummer because you don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, what does he want?
Right.
Does he want to be the number one option, or does he want to
Right.
be in contention? Because if he wants to be in contention, why would you leave Boston?
Well, right, exactly, because Boston's right in it. If you want to go be number one, you might have to go to a Portland Trailblazers type situation. Like it'll be interesting to see because I think now that it's leaked out that he was being offered for Giannis, like I don't know if you go back from that, which
No,
is
I don't think
why.
there's going back. They're going to try to, but no,
No, it
there's no
don't
going
work like
back.
that.
Writing's on the wall here.
Which is why I was trying to find the player. There was one specific player that they said that the Boston Celtics were unwilling to add to the potential trade, to get him, but I can't remember who it was. And it was someone that was.
It's not like Shireman, is it?
No, it was a weird, dude, I'm telling you, I saw the tweet and I was like, oh, I got to remember this. And I, of course, didn't remember it. Could you do like a Nets situation? Because he would be the number one guy there potentially.
What do the Nets have what do the Nets have that Boston would want to give for and why would the Nets do that? Because they already have Porter and Randall now.
Yeah. And honestly, from like a maybe Kings again, if that's like purgatory.
What do the Kings have to offer though? That's kind of my thing.
Sabonis.
Yeah.
Like,
are you trading for? Is that the best package you're getting though? Are you getting older Sabonis?
Could you? But I mean, if Sabonis comes in and is even just like a 15 points per game, that alleviate. Well, I mean, I guess Vooch is similar in that aspect in terms of like
Vooch
a big.
Wasn't even playing though at the end game 7 against the Sixers last year.
I know, but if you go get like Sabonis, who else is there? Monk. Is Zach LaVine still there? Like Zach LaVine, like could you go get some guys?
That's disgusting. You want to go get that team that won no games last year?
No, but I think if you add again, if you have to move on from Jaylen Brown, and
I'm not going to take Zach LaVine's contract. I'm firing the entire management if they take Zach LaVine's contract.
But if it comes with Sabonis and Malik Monk, some other like players as well, and you're confident you might be able to move Zach LaVine again, like I don't know.
Ain't nobody moving Zach LaVine again, bro. That Kings team was so bad. That Kings team was the only team that wasn't trying to tank. Why would I want to go get their players?
Well, the move at that point would be for Sabonis. Like if you're doing anything with the Kings, is to get Sabonis. But
I just don't know why I'd go get. I'm not moving Jaylen Brown to get Sabonis.
Now, to your point earlier, if Kevin Durant is wanting to go.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's conversation for Boston to hit up the Rockets.
Yeah, completely different story if Kevin Durant's on the table.
Could you do a Sengun? Could you do a Van Vliet? Like, even if Kevin Durant's not going to leave, could you move players around Kevin Durant to make him happy there in Houston? Would bringing in Jaylen Brown make him happy? I don't know. I mean,
maybe Houston, for what it's worth, has indicated that they don't want to move on the Jaylen Brown sweepstakes at all. Like, I get what you're saying makes sense. I get why there's the smoke there, and maybe they jump back in. Houston needs to decide what it wants to do first before in terms of whether they're keeping Durant or not.
What are you doing?
They have a package though. Like, is that a team who I think could potentially make up what's needed to get a Jaylen Brown trade? Yeah, I absolutely do.
Well, I should know this. Is the coach in Houston? It's Udoka, right? Udoka.
Yeah, Udoka. Yeah.
So Jaylen Brown's familiar, right? Like he was there. So there is a level of that too. I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit more smoke than we thought there was, but that would be interesting.
Portland is definitely the smokiest right now. Yeah. And again, you don't ever want to be like, oh, that's the one, but Portland is the one. Yeah. And Portland, Detroit, or like the top one. Charlotte is kind of in that Houston category where like they've taken themselves out of it. They basically said, hey, the LaMelo move is it. We're not doing anything else. I don't know. Minnesota doesn't feel like is going to make the move for it. And they've already made their move for LaMelo. I don't know what else they would do to get Jaylen Brown. I don't think they have what it takes anymore. And especially if Boston wants picks. Like if Boston's going for 4 first-round picks, or if they truly just want to restock the war chest here more than anything, that does kind of trade like what's available, like what type of player you can get. Like the Pelicans, for example, if you're trading for Trey Murphy, you're not getting 4 first-rounders with Trey. Then again, you might. It's the Pelicans, but like you shouldn't, in theory, get 4 first-rounders along with Trey Murphy.
The name I found it. It was the Celtics were unwilling to include additional young players like Hugo Gonzalez and
Oh, that's funny.
yeah. So there was a few guys named in it. So I mean I get it. At that point it's like you're giving away the bench, a lot of young bench, and so maybe that's why they didn't want to do it. But either way, to the Celtics side of things is like, look, if you were going to let it get out there that you were offering Jaylen Brown for Giannis, with the comments that were already coming out about Jaylen Brown, you can't whiff. And you did whiff, so now here we are, debating on where else he could go, because you're probably not repairing that relationship. So
yeah,
interesting.
No,
interesting.
Definitely don't think you're repairing that relationship. There's no doubt about it. But all right, let's we're not gonna do balling and falling this week here on the Driving Dish NBA podcast, because we have the draft to talk about, so we feel like that's a little more important. So let's switch gears here in a little bit. And we're obviously not going to go full, we're not going to go pick by pick here in the NBA draft. We're just going to do some winners and losers.
Sure.
So in that case, anybody for you that jumped off the page right away?
I mean, is it a cop out to say the Wizards? I mean, you took the best player at number one. Good job. You didn't overthink it. And you didn't overthink it because you already kind of have some big guys and all, you did good. You did what you had to do. So I guess, my cop-out answer would be that, yes.
Yeah. I mean, right. Obvious pick. Drafting the number one, didn't overthink it. Can't really go wrong with that. To that extent, too, if we're doing the chalky ones first, I think Memphis as well, being able to get Boozer at 3, I think was a great pick. I like getting Lopez too at 21. The fit makes sense with Boozer in terms of he probably needs a traditional big to play next to. You've already got that in Zach Edey. He plays the Jaren Jackson role more or less. They also traded for Isaiah Stewart, so that helps from Detroit to get another body in there to play next to him. And I mean, certainly Memphis has their own unanswered question with whatever they want to do with Ja Morant. He's been on the block. I don't think anybody's really interested right now. I think it was Brian Windhorst who was like, the 2 years just make it an unpalatable contract right now. Somebody would definitely take the swing if it was 1 year left, but either way, it starts to feel like, Memphis has clearly moved on from that core, right? Desmond Bane is in Orlando. Jaren Jackson is now in Utah. That era has come and gone. Ja's the last one standing there. And I mean, look, this could very well be a rehab year for Ja where he comes back. But I think that they have a path for what that future or that post, Ja Morant future looks like.
The NBA troll world wouldn't be able to handle itself if he ended up in Minnesota.
Well, thankfully, I don't think that's going to happen. But
how crazy would that be?
That locker room just never needs to be assembled.
They would just need to have a jar, we're being fined money jar. Just every day, someone put $100 in it, because every game you're getting a fine, no doubt.
Yeah.
I guess another winner, and this is kind of, again, sort of a cop-out answer, would be Michigan, because of 3 players going in the first round, their coach going to the NBA. Michigan looks good. They developed a great team, obviously. They won the national championship. 3 of the guys go in the first round, and now their coach is going to be going and coaching Cooper Flag. So that's kind of a big one.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I mean, I like, you talk about the Michigan guys, I like Lenborg going to Golden State. I think he's going to be able to come in and make a difference there right away. Big two-way guy on that Michigan team last year. The Warriors are in that weird spot where it's hey, we keep saying we're going to make, we're going to be, are we drafting a prospect, or are we trying to keep Steph Curry competitive? And it feels like this is we're trying to keep Steph Curry competitive pick.
Yeah, I think so too. And obviously there's rumors with LeBron and whatever that looks like potentially with the Warriors too. It's worth mentioning. We'll see if that actually becomes a thing. So,
they're always there. I mean, I still don't think LeBron's going to the Warriors. If LeBron's going anywhere, he's going back to Cleveland.
I could see that.
Which in the Eastern Conference, I mean, look, that makes sense. Their team was in the conference finals last year. You don't have to give up Mobley. You've still got Donovan Mitchell. You still got Harden. I guess that team to me is as complete as anybody, and they have a better chance of winning than the Lakers do currently.
Well, and to the Oklahoma City conversation we kind of had earlier, their pick was another big dude. So that kind of, opens up options for them with the cap and money, like we were already kind of talking about. And it also leans into what the Spurs were doing, and they went and got big dudes defensively too. It looks like OKC and the Spurs are just gearing up for another just all out war next season with big men, and potentially maybe this helps them a little bit with not Hartenstein. Oh my gosh, forgetting his name on OKC. Didn't have the greatest finals.
Chet Holmgren.
Chet, yeah, it helps them a little bit with Chet. So maybe there's a little bit there with that. And I know OKC with that pick was kind of talked about potential to trade it out since they have so many young guys already, but they didn't have to. They got the guy they wanted. They go big. They go a guy who could pass. And it just even looks even more dangerous and scary to the Spurs and the league, in my opinion.
Well, just even with Sturts too, beyond that, like bringing another guard in there, we mentioned kind of their just losses naturally with losing Isaiah Joe, with losing Wiggins, like that kind of helps restock that a little bit.
Yeah.
There's still going to be a Lou Dort decision somewhere down the line. So yeah, I mean, right. Being able to restock the war chest here, use these picks, it does feel like they got both of them right. I agree. You should be investing more on that front line. I mean, that certainly got exposed against Wemby. So, give them credit for adjusting their picks, and not just kind of, not just only blaming injuries, if that makes sense. I think OKC had an injury argument to be made in that conference finals, and it's kind of good for them for being proactive about it, not leaning on it.
Mm-hmm.
Other drafts I like. I mean, those are probably my favorite ones. I like the Clippers getting Wagler at 5. I mean, obviously that's that alone is just such a coup for them, for the fact that you got it off the Zubats trade. Like that went all the way up to 5, and for a roster that is, you don't really know what this is going to look like. I mean, even with Kawhi Leonard, there's a little bit up in the air with him right now. Now here you have him and you have Garland, and so it's like, hey, we got our backcourt of the future a little bit. We start to kind of have an idea of what this roster is going to look like. He's only 19 years old, so certainly a lot of upside there. It's their first top 5 pick, fun fact, since Blake Griffin all the way back in 2009.
Jeez.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, listen, the Clippers are picking in the top 5 for a long time, so good for them for having a better decade here. I mean, that's basically it in terms of the teams where I really, really liked it. I think in terms of okay drafts, or where I liked it more than I didn't, I feel like Atlanta had a good draft. I think Detroit had a good draft. I think the Sixers draft is okay.
I was going to ask you about that because, I mean, everyone was saying that the Sixers pick could have gone in the teens, but to that we already have Maxey and Edgecombe, so it's where does this fit?
Well, it resets Jared McCain a little bit. It almost offsets that loss. You're still not thrilled about it, but at least it's all right, well, we brought the replacement in. And you're right. You certainly can't beat the value in terms of what does this do for the team and making it better immediately? And is that necessarily the biggest need? No, you probably didn't need another guard, but where you're picking there, I'm not going to be mad at that pick either.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I mean, I just wonder,
Sacramento too, with getting, I mean, that's part of with Brooklyn, but with Akuf Jr. slipping the way he did, they just kind of lucked into a good pick there, and credit for not overthinking it. But I mean, he's not going to be a top guy, but I think he's a guy who can get a bucket in a pinch. And they sort of need that. I mean, they have a lot of needs, frankly, but I mean, this is a guy who led the SEC in scoring as a freshman, and he's going to have an opportunity to come in and contribute there right away. I mean, that's the pick I'm surprised Brooklyn didn't take. I mean, Brooklyn is the one where it's you got 5 guards, and I don't know if any of them are good. That's really where you're looking at and going, what is this draft right now?
I'm curious who has the best rookie of the year odds.
Oh, I mean, it's probably all of them. I mean, Bonsa, if their team is going to be, contributing, it's going to be there. I think Boozer's going to get a lot of minutes. I think Darren Peterson's going to get a lot of minutes. And I think Utah's a team that could certainly make a jump next year.
Peterson opened as the favorite in some of the sports books to be number 1 overall as the rookie of the year. Boozer's right behind him. Yeah, Boozer's right behind him. So that's pretty cool. So, just something to keep an eye on. So
get early taking a look at it early. Any drafts that you weren't necessarily thrilled about?
No, because like, I get into that. Like, it's like who don't I like or who didn't I like for the pick, but it all is, even like to the Sixers conversation. It's all more of like a does it fit thing, and it's like, well, let's see what it looks like when the season starts up, if that makes sense. Like, it's hard to tell. Again, it's just on paper right now. So the thing I hated the most was the process of the draft more than anything.
Yeah, I get
You
that.
know? So
I mean, a lot of the teams who get lower grades, it's like I feel like they're just outside of Brooklyn. I feel like they just didn't really have the picks this go around
yeah,
almost. And so it's hard to fault them for that necessarily. No who really
yeah.
got bailed out in terms of like they be getting killed, but it didn't work. That is in New Orleans. New Orleans gave up their unprotected to go take Derek Queen to the Hawks, and it ended up only being 8. Like if that
Sure.
was a
Yeah.
top, like what it could have been,
Been crazy.
yikes. Like that was still a horrible move at the time, and they need to be very fortunate that because that whole draft could be a whole
I
lot
know
worse.
I know people
Um,
were uh kind of hating on the Dallas pick a lot with what is it, Morris Johnson
mhm.
Jr. Mainly because they thought they were going to go with a Michigan guy because of the new coach coming in to help out Cooper Flag. So like, I mean, maybe if we had to put a loser on it, not to keep
Yeah.
dumping on the Mavs, maybe the Mavs have an argument for that.
Yeah, he has to get better offensively. That's going to be the biggest thing here. It's just like if he's able to develop a three-point shot, then sure, this will be all right.
Hmm.
Um I just don't know if he's going to do that necessarily. And that's a big, again, when you're trying to surround Cooper Flag with some talent to get him to win, you
Sure.
don't want to miss on those opportunities when you've got a number 9 pick. And so there's definitely a little more of a potential bet there than some of the
He
other
got
ones.
he was CBS analysts gave him a C plus, which was the lowest grade for any lottery selection this draft. So,
Damn,
you
over
know,
Brooklyn too. What'd they give Brooklyn?
see if they got Brooklyn on here. Hold on. No, they didn't even reference Brooklyn on here.
Huh.
I think they're just talking about the player being graded a C plus
Okay.
more
All
than
right.
the
I mean, that
pick.
makes
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I
It's
I
more the
just
pick. It's more, yeah. It was more the player getting a C plus in terms of, you know, potential, I guess.
okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. But all right. So let's switch gear. We have time for some grid. We can speed run this real quick.
Okay.
We'll switch into some Immaculate Grid, and of course, you can always watch the Immaculate Grids on YouTube. Just search Drive and Dish NBA podcast. If you are, of course, are a podcast listener, though. Our columns this week from left to right: the Raptors, Hall of Fame, and 1 steal a game per season. Our rows from top to bottom: the Cavs, the Blazers, and first round draft pick. I will start with you this week. I don't think there's an Elfrid Payton connection, so you're
No,
unfortunately out of luck there. But hit me. What are you thinking?
I mean, obviously, Hall of Fame, first round, 1 steal per game. Oh, wait. Was Alfred taken in the first round, and do we think he had a steal per game
Oh yeah,
as a
no, he
point
absolutely
guard?
works there. Yeah, no, 100%, absolutely. Yeah, just kidding.
We
He
do have an
absolutely works there.
Alfred.
Yeah, yeah. There's no way he was playing starting
Yeah.
minutes. There's no way he didn't
Point
have a steal per
one.
game. Yeah,
Wow, dude.
nice. Yeah,
Wow.
he was first round pick. I think he went like 10 or 11,
It's
something
kind of
like
early.
that.
Yeah, it was a little um it was yeah, he was earlier. I remember because I mean we saw him at Summer League.
No, it was awkward too because the Sixers drafted him, and so they immediately cut to Michael Carter Williams, who of course didn't know that Elfrid Payton was getting traded, and so their talk is Elfrid Payton was in the Dario Saric trade, and Michael Carter Williams is just sitting there like, oh, they drafted another point guard. That's weird. I don't know why they did that type deal, and just having to play that off, and it's like, not
Whoops.
knowing that they moved for Dario instead. But
Yeah.
um,
Dude,
okay,
Raptors, Cavs, Raptors, Blazers. Holy moly, dude.
Raptors, Cavs. The one that comes to mind recently is Danny Green.
Oh, Danny Green's not bad.
Danny Green won the title with the Raptors and he ended his career on the Cavs. So he definitely comes recently.
Okay.
Um, The chalky pick for Blazers and Raptors is to me is Damon Stoudemire. Damon Stoudemire was the first draft pick ever in
Yeah.
Raptors history. He played a bunch of they played a bunch of years with the Blazers as well. So
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with that. Like, I feel like I don't
it's
know. Like, I'm
chalky.
trying to
I
think.
want to think. I kind of want to think there some more. I should say.
Oh, interesting. You know what we could do? Dwayne Wade ended up on the Cavs
Dwayne Wade did end up on the
for
Cavs.
Hall of Fame. That's so dirty,
Sure,
but I
it
love
definitely
it.
works. I mean, I'm trying to even think who's going to be. He might be high, honestly. Like I'm
Oh,
with it.
he is high.
Yeah. I mean, dude, who else?
That's
Like,
funny.
I'm trying to think of Cavs and Hall of Fame. Like, I mean, Shaq works. Shaq was on the Cavs and in the Hall of Fame.
Geez, Shaq. That's crazy.
I mean, LeBron will be, but he's not there
Yeah,
yet.
he's not there yet. He hasn't.
James
Yeah.
Harden will be. He's not there yet.
Yeah. Who else?
Who else are Cavs Hall of Famers?
I'd be interested to see that number when we're done.
I mean, even on the finals teams, like they're all recent. There's nobody.
Matthew Dellavedova should be on the Hall of Fame.
Listen, that Cavs trip looked amazing, by the way. That Cavs
right.
2016 trip, I love that Deli and Shump showed up for that too. That made my day.
Do either of them, Delly or Shump, you think they have a steal per game in a season for the Cavs?
Oh man. So the thing
I
is,
don't think
I'd be
Delly
worried about it
does.
happening for the Cavs. Like Shump played starting minutes.
Yeah.
But I think it was more with New York than it was with the Cavs.
J.R. Smith? Steals? I don't know.
No, I know.
I'm trying to think of other people on that. I mean, Irving will obviously have one.
Yeah, Kyrie's obvious. I mean, all the recent guys.
And
too,
I bet
like
LeBron
Donovan,
would too.
Garland,
Yeah,
LeBron.
Garland, Donovan, Mobley.
The dude, he might honestly. I mean, Mobley's more of a block guy, but he gets a ton of steals per game.
Who was like the in between years before they got Donovan? After like everybody left, there was a few years of just like kind of in the middle.
I'm trying to. I mean, God, I'm trying. Oh, like know who I wonder does. And he was on some of the finals teams. It'd be real borderline. So I don't think he started with like Chetty Osman, somebody like that.
Oh yeah.
Who
else was there? Who just got traded? It was
Garland?
Donovan. Oh yeah, Garland. You're right, Garland. Yeah. Dude, if like a J.R. Smith has it, that might be lower.
I think JR is a steal game in Cleveland. I absolutely think JR is a steal game in Cleveland. He played a bunch of minutes. Like
I know.
Any guard is gonna like any starting guard should hopefully luck into a steal a game. I'm okay with going JR there. Sincerely.
Do we think Kevin Love?
So that I did actually think about that because that's not the stat people would associate him with.
Yeah. I mean, I think JR still might be lower, honestly.
I think JR is lower if he has it, just because Kevin Love is a big stat guy.
J.R. Smith, let's find out. Yes, he does. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, any guard there, I feel like, again, who played starting minutes, I feel like I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt for.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
No, the interesting question is, like, if you want to go in the bag for Portland, so, like, you know, Dame and CJ are the obvious ones recently.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like, you know, guys that they've had recently who played a lot of minutes, though, who could have a steal a game. So, like...
Well, like, who took over? Yeah, who took over for CJ once they traded him before Dame left?
I mean, I'm trying... They've had, like...
No,
guys like Shaedon Sharp have been there, and Simons has been there. Scoot.
Oh, who am I thinking of? There's a player...
Scoot is recent.
You know, is Evan Turner went there? You think Evan Turner had a steal while he was there?
No, I don't think Evan Turner had to steal a game in Portland.
Or Aldridge, Lamar. No, Odom wasn't there, right?
I feel like he might have been, but I'm not willing. Like, I don't know if he'd steal a game there.
No.
I mean, Aldridge might have low key just as a big, like he's one of those, he's like Mobley in that sense where I feel like he could like almost just not lucky into it.
Accidentally get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down to try Aldridge if you want to.
I mean, it will be a typical pick. He's more chalky, but he's a big, so like
LaMarcus Aldridge. Cole Aldridge. Oh my God. I forgot about him too.
So funny.
0.3. Yeah.
Nice.
There we go.
Wow, I think it'd be that low.
Yeah.
Okay. How many years? I want to look at that now.
He was there for a minute.
He was.
Like 5 or 6, 7 years. Did he have 7 years with him? 6 years? Something like that.
Yeah, he had 2006 to 2014, 2015. He was with Portland. He had a steal twice, 2010 and 2011. He averaged 1 steal a game, and 2008, 2009. He averaged 1 steal a game. He was always close. He's at like 0.9, 0.8, but yeah. And then he played with San Antonio all the way until those end 2 years in Brooklyn.
So very recently. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we still have our Raptors connections with the Cavs, Raptors with Trailblazers, Raptors first round pick. And then we still have Hall of Fame, Trailblazers, and Hall of Fame first round.
I mean, you know who we got to do a Raptors first round pick, and I'm worried it'll be a little chalky, but you got to do Bruno Caboclo, the guy who was 2 years away from being 2 years away.
Oh, yeah.
Bruno Caboclo. I don't even know how to say his name. He's Brazilian.
Bruno, did he play? Like, doesn't he have to log?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I feel like he played. He had to have played.
What is it? Bruno
CAB.
Yeah, him right here. Right here.
He had to have played.
He did play. Okay. 1% is kind of wild.
What did he end up playing? Yeah, he didn't play much. Most he ever played in a season was 34 games. He played with Memphis in 2018, 2019. With Toronto, he played 8, 6, 9, 12, and 2 games respectively in his 5 seasons there.
Did Dwight get Hall of Fame yet?
Dwight did get Hall of Fame, yeah.
We could do Dwight first round pick Hall of Fame. I wonder if that would be low because people may not realize he has it.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, there's so many options there, but yeah, I mean, he definitely a first round pick. He just made the Hall of Fame because Shaq had him entered.
Look at that. That's crazy.
I've got an insane Raptors Cavs that just dawned on me that you only got to laugh at. Poor guy, Anthony Bennett.
You know, I was thinking about him for the first round, but I was like, I don't know if he ever played.
Yeah, he went to Toronto because I remember when he went to Toronto, I was such a sicko with the process that I was like talking myself into the Sixers taking a flyer on him. 6%. Wow.
Weirdly enough, I keep, and I don't think I remember him on either team, but Quincy Acey keeps coming to my mind.
Wow, dude. I definitely think he played for the Raptors 100%.
Did he play for the Blazers though?
Oh, dude, if you haven't pinned there, I have no idea.
I don't know why he keeps coming to my head. I really don't remember him on the Blazers, but I keep thinking of Quincy Acey. So
I'm trying to think of like
you got to help me out on that one. Or no. What else? Wasn't there a player?
Our guy Thad Young didn't play there, I don't think.
No, what about there was a player with the last name Patrick. I can't remember his first name, and I don't know if I remember him I just remember him in a red jersey, and I think it was the Raptors.
It's not Patrick Patterson, is it?
Yes, Patrick Patterson. Holy moly! Did he play for the Blazers?
I have no idea. I know he played for the Raptors.
Yeah, Patrick Patterson. That's who I was thinking of. That's so funny that you caught that. I was like, I can't remember his name. I just remember Patterson. Well, I kept thinking
Patrick Peterson then too, and I'm like, he plays football. I'm like, it's not Patrick Peterson.
Yeah.
I don't think he played for the.
Oh my god.
Yeah, wow, great Eagles throwback.
Yeah.
I don't think he played for the Raptors, but like I was thinking of Aaron Aflalo for a sec, but I don't think he played for the Raptors. I know he played for the Blazers. Same is true with Wes Matthews. Wes Matthews didn't play for the Raptors. He did play for the Blazers.
A Leonard.
Jeremy Grant never played for the Raptors, right?
I don't think so. What about a big man on the Raptors when they beat the Sixers?
There's Mark. and Jonas and Ibaka.
Jonas, that's who I was thinking. Ibaka never played for the Blazers.
No.
Oh man, Blazers a little tough. Oh man.
It might have to go with Damon Stoudemire, dude. I'm kind of stumped.
Wes Matthews.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, we might just have to go kind of.
No who God, what is his name? He just was there recently. He was on the Raptors team that made the playoffs that kind of didn't have any business making the playoffs, that the Sixers beat in the first round, that they surprised everybody though a little bit.
It was like Kawhi, DeRozan.
No, he was the guard. Dude, Gary Trent Jr.
Oh, wow.
Gary Trent Jr. definitely played for Portland, and he definitely played for the Raptors. And he'll be lower, I think, than
Oh, it would help if I spelled Gary right. There he is. Yep. 14%. That tells you something, dude. That tells you something. There's not a lot of connections.
All right.
It's such a slight that we left Hall of Fame and Blazers last.
It's not really there's a few guys that Bill Walton to me is probably the number one there. Dame will be. He's not there yet.
Yeah, he's not there yet.
The recent guy, if we want to do somebody recent, kind of in that Dwight Howard vein, is Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, Melo would be. I bet people wouldn't put that connection together.
Yeah, the Blazers are where he rehabbed his career, essentially. He made those last few years of Melo's career look a lot better than they did when he left OKC and Houston. So
there you go. What was that? 4%? Yeah. Wow.
Not bad at all. Blazers Hall of Fame. There's definitely there's a couple, but a lot that don't jump off the grid.
9 of them. 9's more than I thought. Clyde. Melo, Scotty. Scotty's a good one.
Right.
Sabonis'
dad. Nice.
Yeah.
Draza Petrovic. Oh, Clyde Drexler. That's an obvious one.
Yeah. And then what was the other? There was one we said was a small.
What are Raptors and
Blazers?
Yeah, Raptors and Blazers.
Rod
Strickland, classic. Damon Stoudemire, Marcus Camby. Okay.
Jermaine O'Neal's a good one
I definitely forgot played for the Raptors too. When Ed Davis is in your top 5, there's not too many.
Jared Bayless.
Yeah, Will Barton.
Telfair. That's who I was trying to think. Dang it.
Jalen's dad too, Rick Brunson.
Yep. Wow.
OG Gary Trent, not Gary Trent Jr., Gary Trent Sr.
Yeah, regular Gary Trent.
That would have been crazy.
If I accidentally clicked it, it still worked.
Dude, that's so funny. But all right, let's recap our grid here one last time.
For the Raptors. Holy moly, dude. Okay. Yeah, 775. Okay.
All right, so recap our grid one last, or let's go to top answers. My bad, Justin.
Yeah,
we'll hit these two quick. All right, top answers for Cavs and Raptors: Danny Green for Cavs Hall of Fame, Shaquille O'Neal for Cavs 1 steal a game per season, LeBron James for Blazers and Raptors, Damon Stoudemire for Blazers Hall of Fame, Bill Walton for Blazers steal a game, Damian Lillard, Raptors first round draft pick Vince Carter, Hall of Fame and first round draft pick Michael Jordan, 1 steal a game per season and first round draft pick also Michael Jordan. Our grid, if we want to recap one last time, we got Anthony Bennett for Cavs and Raptors, Dwayne Wade for Cavs and Hall of Fame, J.R. Smith, Cavs 1 steal a game per season, Gary Trent Jr. for Blazers and Blazers and Raptors, Carmelo Anthony for Trailblazers Hall of Fame, LaMarcus Aldridge for Trailblazers 1 steal a game per season, Bruno Caboclo for Raptors first round draft pick, Dwight Howard for first round draft pick Hall of Fame, and Elfrid Payton for first round draft pick 1 steal a game per season. Thank you everybody for listening to this episode of the Drive and Dish NBA podcast. Appreciate you guys as always. Wherever you can find a podcast, you can find us.
And find us on YouTube. Just search Drive and Dish. You can subscribe and you'll get notifications when new episodes are coming out.